You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia, and Tactical Fishing Company.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fishing the DMV. I'm your host, Thomas Ahrens, and I have on a really cool cat that owns a really cool company, and he's got a cool story to tell about drop zone lures. Had him on before, and this is going to be a pretty special conversation. Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So,
thank you.
I mean, yeah, first and foremost, like, dude, what has been going on with you lately?
So I had drop zone tackle, and we've had it for about 5 years, and right at 5 years, and been doing shows, been doing really well with it. It's being sold all over the country now, which is awesome. But recently, I just sold it to Nick Kincaid. So he's the new owner of Drop Zone Tackle. He's also associated with Carolina Waters. He's excited. He's gonna do good things. Everything's the same. We have the same products, same availability, same stores, and it's just going to continue to grow.
What was your mindset with all that? I mean, it's not usually you just wake up one day and just hit the sell button.
Yeah, right. No, it's to start out with the business. It was not something I really planned on doing, but I made the Drop Zone Tackle. The very first lure was the rattle and drop shot weight, and I made it out of necessity, like most things that people come up with, and it worked well for me. And then others, you guys have probably heard the story before, but others started wanting to use it, and I let some people have it, and they won night tournaments with it and started to see some value in it, and the business was born. And then we just took off with some other creations we'll talk about here in a minute. But just life is busy. I'm still full-time law enforcement. Been doing that for 19 years. So I'm trying to get to the 25-year mark, and towards the end of the career, there's some promotion opportunities, and I don't know that I'll get it, but we'll see. But my oldest just got accepted to Liberty, so she's gonna be going to school, and again, just life is busy. So it was a good opportunity for my kids to see from the beginning to the end of what could happen, like just an idea. They were with me from the beginning, and I would talk to them, and they probably weren't paying attention half the time, but they will remember. My dad had an idea and thought about a business, and I remember my youngest being excited when she knew that it was being sold in California and in Florida. And we had a map in the basement. We put a star on all the states when they started selling there that we knew of, and that was fun. But now they've already talked about doing businesses of their own.
That
just
is
toying
big,
with the idea. Yeah. Just the fact that they know that they can do it, I think is a big deal. And they were able to, I guess, see that it's possible. Really, just people can just do stuff now. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be a business expert. You don't have to go to school for it. You can, if you have the determination, that's really all it takes. Just hard work and run with it. But so I decided to sell it, and it's a stress relief, because trying to keep it going at the level that it's capable of being, and being as big as it's capable of being, I think Nick's going to do a really good job with it. It was a really good transition. So I'm
How many
really
years
happy for him.
from beginning till now that you had it?
Right, I think it's right at 5 years.
Dude, that's actually pretty incredible to go on that kind of arc from an idea to selling it in California. That's
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And some milestones were like being able to sell it on Tackle Warehouse was pretty cool. To see the video of what's new this week at Tackle Warehouse, and you see your products on the table. It's a pretty cool moment. And then so they've been sold all over. Pittman Creek carried them as a distributor, and selling and making the relationships with the owners of lots of small companies. That's been really cool. And then this Richmond show is my favorite, because I still fish tournaments, and a lot of the local guys are coming around and from the community of fishing that we all know. So it's kind of like a homecoming, and I get to talk, and I got to get on the tank.
Dude, that's
earlier, which is
awesome.
And and you get to sell a lot of stuff, and people actually want to hear you talk about fishing, because at home no one wants to hear me talk about it.
It is good in that regard. You get to be surrounded by the people that are very like-minded with all of it. You know what I mean? And you get to just indulge in those conversations. At what moment in the whole business did it kind of hit you like, okay, this thing just worked? Was it when it was sold in California? Like, did you ever have that aha moment, like, oh my God, this is working?
I mean, those steps were kind of incremental to building the overall company, but I don't know that there was one moment. I think I was more excited when I was able to, my first show, it was in Knoxville, and I was kind of nervous. I'm not nervous to talk to people. I was just nervous. I was there by myself. I'm setting up a booth for the very first time. The doors open, and like the first 50 people just walked right by the booth. I didn't even look in my direction. And all I'm doing is selling drop shot weights. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I here? And then I started just realizing just sales is more like the the transference of passion and knowledge. So once I started talking to people and just talking about fishing and talking about different experiences, and I would tell them why I made the product. And then I see people that come in that like the drop shot, and they would hold it and they would shake it and their eyes would light up and they get excited about it. That, I think, was the moment that I realized that not only the other people like the idea, that they're actually going to use it to help them catch fish. So I think that was more important to me than where it was sold.
And then, as always with the products, you started out with the drop shot weight. What was the next mad scientist idea that you had?
It was the Zika rig. You know, all the companies, they have them. Like a Jika rig is Gamakatsu's version of it, and then Owner has the Owner rig. So we took our technology of the rattling drop shot weight, and then we put it into this rig. And basically, you know, most people know what it is, but you can Texas rig with it. One little sneaky technique that I like to do with it is kind of like a wobble head. We throw it out on long points to reel it in. Excuse me. And then you get that soft tick of the crawfish sounding and looking like a crawfish. I usually put like the Biz Baits cutter crawl or something similar to that, some kind of crawl bait. I put that on there, and to flip it in laydowns, you don't get hung up near as much. Bed fishing is really good because you can just flop the weight over and it's giving them a sound and a feel that they're not used to. So that's kind of where that came from. And then we just progressed into the most requested thing is, do you have rattles and a shaky head? And I heard that from like day one of business, and so I ended up coming up with that, and that is for sure like our most popular product, even maybe more so than the drop shot weights, because I think a lot more people fish a shaky head than they do drop shot. So I didn't think that was the case at first, but it ended up being that. And last year at this show we sold out. We're a lot better stocked and equipped this year than we were last year. We have 3 sizes in that, and for guys that are local, listen to this. The Smith Mountain Lake is my home lake, and when I'm skipping docks, I like a 3/16 because it doesn't hang up as bad. Because when you skip, if you get under there, this riprap that comes out, and that quarter seems to get wedged in there, and I broke off too many. So I went to a 3/16, and that seems to be a really good trade-off. It skips well, but it also doesn't get hung in the rocks near as bad. And then last year we came out with, forward-facing sonar is big, and shaking the minnow, everyone's been doing it for a couple years now. So we dipped into that as well, but we had the SS minnow head, and the SS stands for Strobin or Strolling rather, and also a swim bait. So that's where the SS came from. And I was doing the tank demo earlier, and I was explaining, some people know, people that have been doing it, they take the minnow and they put it on the head, and they skin hook it at the top, so more of the bait is on the bottom of the hook. Kind of like, think about a grandfather clock, the arm that hangs down, it's got the weight at the bottom, but it swings better, so you get that better pendulum effect. Well, when you can hook it that way, but this, you have the tungsten beads inside the brass tube here, so as you tie a loop knot and you start to shake it, it'll roll like more than 180 degrees, pretty effortlessly, the same action that you would do in others, and it rolls really well. And then it gives that subtle tick, and then on a swim bait, it naturally rocks with the swim bait action, so you're getting that subtle tick as well. So they have sold really well for us. And last year at Smith Mountain Lake, we came in second a lot in tournaments, but I'm still blessed with that. But most of the 20 plus pound bags that we caught, a lot of it was coming on small Kitech swim baits, minnow baits, and things like that. But I was using that head all spring last year, so it did really well.
How'd you come up with the angle of the rattle off of it? Trial and error, or did you?
Well, we wanted room to put the swim bait so you could slide it all the way up, because differently than the shaky head, we don't have room. We didn't put a bait keeper. We put the round bait keeper. We didn't put the same type bait keeper. So that's why I had to have it angled down, and the swim bait fits nicely, and it's a nice smooth transition from this to the plastic. So if you wanted to skip it, or you didn't want all of that, I guess slowing it down, if you put a super small one on there, this may stick out, but really it blends in so well. But it does put the weight at the bottom, and it allows it to rock a lot better. So that's been one of my favorites for sure.
That is a really, really, really cool bait. And guys, you got to go check that out. Thanks, go get them before they are completely sold out here. I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, how have sales been this year with the economy and all that other stuff? Because people are worried about that.
Yeah. So the tariffs didn't really affect us too much, but sales they've been consistent. They didn't grow like they did last year, but at least they stayed consistent. But the show this year has been awesome. This is the first show we've done, and the local support I think is a big deal, and I appreciate you guys. But I think just overall, people are. It used to be when people walked into the booth, we would say, "Hey, are you guys familiar with our products?" And the answer was usually no, never heard of you guys. Now it's 50-50 or maybe 60-40 that they have heard, and they're returning to buy more because they bought it and they liked it. So word is getting out. So sales have been good, and the more people that we're able to put the products in their hand and use it, and they have good experiences with it, so they're coming back. So it's not always introducing to new, which is helpful. So it's starting to grow.
So what are you going to be doing with yourself? I mean, you're going from a full-time parent, family man, full-time job in the police, full-time business owner. What are you going to do with all the free time? Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon Club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8 a month, which is less than a megabass jerkbait or a jackhammer chatterbait. And I'll sweeten the pot. If you sign up for the whole year, I'll give you 15% off your membership. 15% off. Guys, this is just a way I can say thank you to everyone that helps support and keep this show going. Link in the episode description. Thank you so much.
Well, my wife has a whole ton of things for me to do, a whole list of stuff. We have some projects at the house to do, but long term, I can't sit still. It's just not in me. So I'm sure there'll be something else down the line. I really do like electronics. I like side imaging. I like forward-facing sonar. I like being able to understand what you can't see in the water. And forward-facing sonar, I bought it, like I was a year or two late getting it after it first came out. But as it started to gain popularity, I got it, and I spent countless hours using it, trying to learn it, trying to like tweak this and tweak that. And I feel personally like I've grown a lot doing that. And it's helped me have so much fun on the lake. Recently, I got to go to Sandy Reservoir. My best 5 was like over 31 pounds, and it was all using forward-facing sonar. I saw every fish that bit. And that's a great lake. It's a special place. But had I not had forward-facing sonar, or had I not understood it, I never would have had that experience, which is awesome. I'm really happy and blessed that I got to do it. But what I'm getting to is, if the retirement works out the way that I want and the timing, I would like to do a guide service. That's kind of what I'm thinking of, but more like I want to go in your boat. You hire me. I'll come in your boat and teach you how to use your electronics, because you come to my boat doesn't help you if you have a different setup. Whether it be Humminbird, Lowrance, Garmin, or whatever else is new by then. Try to stay on top of that and then help the people understand so they can have similar experiences. And because I've heard a lot of friends are like, look, I have it. It's just very frustrating because I don't know what I'm looking at, or I'm wasting time casting the fish that aren't bass, or I can't stay on it, or I'm not sure where my bait is. I had one guy ask me, he had his transducer on backwards. Yeah, I got hopped in this boat before a tournament, and the transducer was on backwards. And I know he's trying, and it's confusing to some people. So from that to the setting to a 2-tone color versus a 1-tone color, automatic versus manual, and some of the settings, all of that stuff really matters, and it can help the user like just have a better experience. So I'm hoping maybe one day that works out, but that's just an idea. I don't know.
How many more years got left before you're a free man?
Like
5
maybe. Yeah.
Do you want to stay in the area, or do you have a retirement like Florida?
Yeah. No. I would love to move as close to Smith Mountain Lake as possible. So I don't know if that's possible for us financially, but
how far,
we're gonna try.
Logistics wise, how far of a drive is it for you? All right, I mean, it's not terrible.
Yeah, we live in Madison Heights, so it's an hour to Smith, an hour to Briery and Sandy, hour 40 or so to Bug. So it's not awful.
How did Smith fish this year? Because it seemed like
fantastic, really, really good. You probably know, you keep up with it, but last weekend we weren't there, but there was like a 15 boat tournament on a winter series on the Saturday, and there was 3 8-pounders weighed in that one tournament. It was crazy. I caught my first 8-pounder. We were practicing for, I think it was the Bass Cast Classic. No, I'm sorry, the Cat Trail Classic. And on practice day, I caught an 8-pounder. It's the first 8-pounder I've ever caught at Smith. I've caught them at Sandy and Briery and places like that, but never there. So I just think it's just getting better and better and better.
They talk about that glass breaking moment where you put pressure, you don't see it, and all of a sudden it busts loose. And I know last winter I think there was 2 10s and an 11 caught, but we had high water and it was colder. This year we got the drought, which is still a problem everywhere, and it's not as cold.
Sure.
What do you think the weights will be like going into the spring? Do you think we're going to see things just continue to parabolic, or will this year just be not the same, not because the fish aren't there, but the weather doesn't line up?
That's an interesting question. I personally think I think it'll be as pretty consistent as it was last year. Some of the real big ones, I think the guys are catching them, especially when the wind's blowing hard. I think they are catching them with A-rigs and swim baits and whatnot, shallow. One of the biggest bags I saw was Chad and Johnny had it last year. They had like 36 pounds in one of those winter series tournaments, and the wind was galing that day. It was blowing really, really hard. So I guess I don't know where they fished, but if there was deep water near where they were doing it, maybe they could duplicate that in a similar scenario. But for the guys that are out fishing deep, fishing for suspended fish, using 4-faces sonar, I don't think it's going to affect them. Because I had that day that I was practicing, I think I had like 23 pounds, and I did a lot of using the electronics to find those fish. And that low water, because it's been so consistent for so long and so steady, I think the fish are kind of predictable, and there's so many great anglers out there. I know that they're going to find them. So I don't see it dropping off. I could be wrong, but I see it getting better, honestly. But some of those real big, like 2 10s and an 11, I don't know if that's going to happen again, but I don't know how they caught them. I think one guy said he caught one on 4-faces sonar, but I don't know about the other ones.
I would be hard pressed to believe that they died off. I think they're still there. I mean, if you catch 2 10s and 11, they're different fish. There's 3 at least. There's probably more. So, and then there's a bunch of 8s that are probably going to get bigger in that. So, when are we going to see more and more dirty 30s coming out of there? It's got to be soon.
Oh, it's going to happen, no doubt. I think right now it's condition based. The biggest bags I've seen has definitely been when the wind's blowing the hardest. I had a really good day in the BFL. My first BFL that I fished was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, and the wind was blowing really, really hard that day, and I was able to take advantage of it. Kind of got lucky on a couple bites, but it just seems like those fish, I don't know, because the water's clear, maybe they're just more comfortable shallow or something. I know it's basic, but I definitely think it has.
It's conditions. It's 100%. Because like the tidal rivers last year weren't great in the spring because it was either blowing 100 miles an hour or we got flood water. And so, that was completely burnt out. So people are like, okay, the tidal rivers are down. It's like, no, the conditions weren't good. And then the smallmouth wise, because we had high chalky water, we had 2 22-pound bags of smallmouth out of rivers that people didn't think they were there, but those fish were so old and smart. You needed that chalky water. And we hadn't had those conditions in so long. So I do think it's both. You have to have it just right for those big girls to want to feed comfortably. They're getting smart, man. I mean, the scope stuff, and I think they're really starting to get used to the feel of that ping or something that's happening.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And a lot of the techniques how many people do you see on the lake or the rivers? You're looking at them, and they're all looking down at the screen, and you can see their rods shaking and whatnot. So I'm guilty of it as well. I guess it's, maybe conditioning for you're right, the pinging I think is a big deal, but maybe conditioning from that and the same baits, the same techniques, which is why weather conditions are so important, because it gets them in that feeding mood. I've had so many days where I've had really, really nice quality fish are following the swim bait, following the jerk bait, following the minnow, and they just won't commit. And you think, well, it's a color issue, a lighter head, lighter line. You should go through everything you can in the entire gamut that you have, and it just doesn't change. Some days it's just really, really hard to get on a bite. And one thing that I struggle with is, what do you do if that's your confidence? If that's the way you catch them, how do you bail on that and go to something that's unknown on tournament day when this is how you practice, this is how you caught them, and maybe it's timing. So if you quit, then they might start biting it. So it's a real challenge, and that's something that personally I want to grow with and get better at, because right now I'm stuck I can catch them pretty good, But then when that dies off, what do I do? And I haven't found the answer to that yet, which is one of the things that keeps me going back because I really want to try.
When it comes to the sound, and this is a great little tie back to your baits, glass, brass, copper, like, does that difference in sound really make a big difference, or is it all in the fisherman's mind?
That's a good question. And personally, from my experience with this company, what I found was the sound is fine, but I think that personally appeals to us more than it does the bass. The vibration is what I think is the biggest key. And each one is like a color difference. I personally don't think color is a big deal. I think the contrast of the color, if you can throw white or black in really dirty water and you can catch fish, but it's because it's standing out from the water around it. This is just my personal opinion. I think the contrast is really important, and different colors give different contrast. So it's not because it's purple, it's because of what purple looks like at that depth. It's just the contrast of what that fish, like a shadowy subject coming through, and the fish feel the vibration of that bait. And so getting back to sound, I think like in here, there's brass tubes in all of our products and tungsten beads. And when I was first creating the product, I went through a bunch of different ideas like glass with the steel beads, which is more of a high pitch, very low vibration. But this, when you shook it, it's a really hard knock. And I think that that's a bigger deal. Think about a bass at nighttime in dirty water at night, can't see anything. He's totally using his lateral line and maybe a little sound, and that's how he's pinpointing his food and his meals and or danger or whatever. So I think that the vibration is really key, and this combination of these materials has been really special. For whatever reason, it worked out, and I maybe a little bit of luck involved with that. But once we figured out the right combination, then the products were really effective. And so, from my experience, I think sound is important, but I think the vibration that sound gives is probably more important.
Dude, I mean, have we forgotten to talk about anything? I mean, this has been fantastic, man.
No, I don't think so. That's it.
No, I mean, dude, I thank you so much for coming on, and good luck with you with your other endeavors, and hopefully, you get that guide business started, because that's something that is desperately needed to teach people about all this technology that's coming on board fishing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My theory is if you can help other people have a good time on the water, I mean, they're going to be willing to pay for it, and they're going to get a lot out of it, and you don't have to be a salesman to do it. You're just helping people have fun. So I'm all
Dude,
on board
and then
with
guys,
that.
as always, link in the episode description to everything that we talked about here. So please go check out his website, and you guys just please comment me. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And also, as you guys know, I'm now opening up the coffers. We're looking for people if you want to come on and advertise on the show, or if you just want to come on and help out any way you can, fishingthedmv@gmail.com. And we will see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fishing the DMV. I'm your host, Thomas Aaron's, and we are back here live from the Richmond Show and Expo on this beautiful Saturday morning. We have our next guest. We're going to be talking about a really cool bait company. I mean, they have one of the biggest booths here, Deep Creek Lures. Dude, just let everyone know who you are and what got you into fishing.
Yeah, man. So my name is Jesse Wise. Live in Irwin, North Carolina. And I started fishing when I was probably 3 or 4 years old with my granddaddy, and just fell in love with it and kept the passion going. And I got an opportunity 5 years ago to sign up for the NPFL, the second year they were out. So I fished the National Professional Fishing League. I fished it for 4 seasons now, and we got a bait company right in the backyard, basically where I grew up, Dunn, North Carolina. Deep Creek Lures. Business is going places. It's going, it's getting a lot better. We got a lot of variety of baits. We acquired Illusion Baits last year, so now we have, a bunch more products other than soft plastics. You can come and get shaky heads, tungsten weights, vibra spins, spinner baits, swim jigs, football head jigs, buzz baits. Let's see what else is in the Illusion line. Swim spinners, which is like an underspin.
Oh, cool.
It's got skirts on it. So yeah. I mean, we when we acquired that, now you can truly come to our booth and get equipped for almost anything in the fishing aspect. We have Salty Bay, a whole saltwater line of product, and we have Deep Creek Lures, which is the freshwater, bass stuff. And we got some crappie stuff as well.
How big is the largemouth, or let's just say bass fishing, comparatively to saltwater in North Carolina?
Just as big. I mean, North Carolina, we're really blessed on our coast to have the access to all the sounds and the backwaters, the rivers that feed, the sounds. So, I mean, there's a lot of trout, flounder, and drum fishing that goes on in, eastern North Carolina. And our Salty Bay collection has, really taken off. One of the cool things about Deep Creek Lures is the owner's wife, Josh Ballard, he's the owner of Deep Creek Lures, and his wife, Natalie Ballard, is our painter, and she paints all our hard baits. So,
wow.
All our 1.5s, 2.5s, our glide baits, anything that's, a hard presentation that's painted, she paints them now. She quit her job full time and come and started working for the company because it's getting bigger and bigger. It's supply and demand, obviously. With a company growing, you have to be willing to, help the company grow, and that's what they did, last year. And I think the company's really taken off. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
How long has it been around for?
I don't want to step on any toes, but as long as I can remember, I remember Deep Creek Lures back when I was 16 years old. So I'm 41 now, so I would say that they've been around a right good while.
Yeah. That's crazy.
They've been around a right good while.
NPFL. What was your journey into that?
So here's where it all started. I competed at a local level. And at the local level, we're really blessed in North Carolina to have Falls Lake, Jordan Lake, Sharon Harris, Gaston, Carr, Lake Norman, all within 2.5 hours of where I live. Obviously some of them's closer, an hour down the road. But then you got the whole eastern North Carolina, the river system. You got, you have the Roanoke, the Chowan, Trinity Neuse, you got a Eastern Cape Fear. So North Carolina's really versatile, man. We got a lot of stuff. So growing up fishing, when I started tournament fishing at the local level, I started fishing with the Fishers of Men. And me and my dad did that, and we had a lot of fun for, 4 or 5 years, and we were really successful. Well, my dad felt the calling that he wanted to take over the division, so now he is, North Carolina Central Division tournament director. So I've been tournament fishing for a long time, and 5 years ago, one of my buddies signed up for the NPFL, and I was like, what do I got to do to sign up? And I went through the process, and I got in the next year, and man, it's been a great 4-year journey. That's a truly phenomenal league. The way they care for the fishermen, and it's pretty much a big family, but just like any other.
Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon Club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8 a month, which is less than a Megabass jerkbait or a jackhammer chatterbait. And I'll sweeten the pot. If you sign up for the whole year, I'll give you 15% off your membership. 15% off. Guys, this is just a way I can say thank you to everyone that helps support and keep this show going. Link in the episode description. Thank you so much. Alrighty, I gotta tell you about something that's been a game changer for me. Super Blue Stuff Pain Relief Cream. Look, I've had a rough life. 3 reconstructive shoulder surgeries, I had a horse flip on me and break my back, and I'm out on the water a lot. I get aches and pains. My shoulder starts to flare up after casting all day. My back gets tight from sitting in a kayak too long. My knees get achy from standing in the front of the boat. And my neck will start to hurt from looking down at the live scope all day. And now with the temperature dropping for the winter, it can get rough out there, let me tell you.
I started using Super Blue Stuff way back in high school when I started getting injured playing baseball. And honestly, I don't go anywhere without it anymore. It's in my truck. I have a bottle of the roll-on in my boat. And I also have one in a backpack that I always have with me when I'm going hiking or doing anything outside. The roll-on is super easy to use. Just roll it on whenever you're hurting and you're good to go. No mess, no greasy hands, and it works fast. What I love about Super Blue Stuff is that it's all natural. We're talking emu oil, herbs, botanical extracts, no harsh chemicals or junk you can't pronounce, and it actually works. And it doesn't have that insane burning sensation or super cold sensation. You just roll it on and forget about it. Right now, my friends at Emu Therapy are offering Fishing the DMV viewers and listeners 15% off any roll-on when you use the code BLUEFISH at checkout. That's Bluefish, BLUEFISH. Head over to bluestuff.com/fishingthedmv, link in the episode description down below, or call 866-571-BLUE. That's 866-571-BLUE. Trust me, your body will thank you.
Another battle, you're competing against your friends. You make friends, but you're battling against them, for the tournament. But after the tournament, no hard feelings. I hadn't had, one little discussion with an angler in 4 years. Like it's a pretty top-notch league, man, and they take care of us. They do a really, really phenomenal job on it.
What was your biggest learning curve?
I would say traveling the country. Largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, spotted bass. What is their brain the size of a pea? So one thing, you had to figure out the different regions of how the fish act and respond. And one thing that I've learned is a bass is going to eat. Basses, they got to eat to survive, obviously. And just adjusting from Florida to North Carolina to Texas to New York, fish do the same thing across the country. It's just at different times. So you just got to learn how to, digest the body of water and break it down to where fish, you don't want to find what's happening at the moment. This is something I got to learn to do better. You want to find something that is developing during the tournament 4 days later. Because when you're practicing, we put 3 practice days in on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then we're off on Wednesday, and the tournament starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So on the first day of practice, if you find something, you got to check it on Tuesday afternoon just to see. Because, if it's springtime of the year, the fish might have done moved, a quarter mile down the bank. You want to find something that's developing. So I would think the biggest learning curve for me is figuring out how to practice for a 3-day event. Because you got to have fish that last all 3 days. You just can't find one spot that's got 8 fish on it. You got to catch all 8 of them the first day. Then you ain't got nothing to fish the second and third day. So I would say that's the biggest learning curve, traveling the country.
Are there different cultural elements? Like we talk this all about time, just White River fish versus Florida versus Texas. Like, was that at all something like, okay, this is a little different than North Carolina, what I'm dealing with here?
No, one thing that I've learned is, man, this year the schedule with the NPFL, we're going back to Wright Patman in Texas. I love Texas. It's been good to me over the years. But their fisheries set up a lot like 2 of our local lakes. And when you get on a body of water that looks like your home pond, that's half the battle right there, knowing that, hey, I got confidence. I can go catch fish here because it's just like, Falls Lake. So it helps, breaking down a lake a little bit better when you're fishing similar stuff to what you're used to, I would say.
Yeah. And you guys know, we talk about North Carolina a lot on this show. We just did our tier list ranking of North Carolina lakes, which you guys were just thrilled with how we ranked that thing. But what was an interesting common denominator is people thought it wasn't a live scope heavy state compared to like North Carolina or different places. Because you got the High Rocks, you got the Normans, where maybe you scope, but it's weird. Like a lot of the lakes there, you can win shallow a lot more. Like, why, in your opinion, is that those lakes aren't like Hartwell or a Murray, where you can win out there all the time?
One thing, the local lakes where I'm at, Falls Lake, Jordan Lake, we don't have spotted bass. So we ain't got the spots in the smallmouth, so they're pretty predictable. Like, they're roamers a lot of the times. They like open water, deep water. Our largemouth, it seems like at Falls Lake and Jordan Lake, if you come to them lakes in March and April, if you're fishing deeper than 2 foot, you're fishing over their backs. They're up there. You know, literally, I've seen where you churn mud with a trolling motor, you can't get to them, they would be so shallow. So, you know, and that's happened. That's why I'm looking forward to the right pattern. You know, that's that body of water sets up like that, and you got to be shallow. You got to be fishing where the fish are coming to, because you know, otherwise you're fishing over the back. Your boat might be over.
No, yeah, I 100% agree with that. High Rock, what is going on with that thing right now? Because it is on fire, it seems like, this year compared to years prior.
I don't know.
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia, and Tactical Fishing Company.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fishing the DMV. I'm your host, Thomas Ahrens, and guys, we are back at the Richmond Fishing Expo. How you doing, Boo Boo? Good to see you, Hunter. We are here with a really cool bait company. He is here from the mysterious land of Ohio, and we're going to be talking baits, smallmouth, and just so much more. I know all my smallmouth guys are going to love this episode. So, dude, I want to let you have the floor. Like, who are you and what's your story?
Yeah, Jesse French, owner of Blue Rock Custom Tackle. We're southeast Ohio. The story is, believe it or not, kind of boring, but it started as a hobby 15 plus years ago. Turned into this to that. Quit my day job 7 years ago this spring.
Oh, cool.
And we've been hustling this, running shows, you know, kind of making friends all over. Have had some cool experiences, a couple good breaks with some higher level guys that have plugged us, and we're just growing, man. It's fun. A lot of just redneck connections, and just being who we are has helped us grow.
So, was it I wanted to grow the business first and then kind of quit my day job, or was it like you were just, I'm done with corporate and you just yeeted into it?
I was blue collar, man. I was a water department guy,
cool.
Highway department guy. Great living, really. But it got to the point where, it started as a hobby, buddies around the house. Got to the point where you're coming home from work every night, going to make tackle till 10, 11 o'clock. Young kids, and a supportive wife finally said, like, you're making X amount of dollars, like, give it a try. I know you'll keep the bills paid, like, just try it. And that was 7 years ago, and it hasn't all been a bed of roses, but we're finally getting to the point where cool things just keep happening. And it's this little industry is a lot smaller than people think. Networking and making friends, and it's been fun, man. And fishing and hunting is all I care about anyway, so it doesn't get much better.
There's a duality there between the deer hunting in Ohio in your area and the bass fishing. Yeah. Why is it that
Dude,
way?
I don't know, but I tell people, like, my little area of Ohio, like, we live in like the Lake Gunnersville of whitetail, like, as like a tourism, like, everybody wants to come from out of state. There's a lot of public ground, and Ohio is like one of the easiest over the counter whitetail states to afford to come to hunt. I don't know what the connection is, but the connection is great for me because this business naturally slows down a little bit in the fall.
Well, you get in the stand.
And I can go, like, reset my brain. Like, this is a lot of talking and, communicating. I love it all, but it'll wear a guy out, after you run 6 or 7 shows and just, dealing with business and fishing all year. Like, I don't mind going and sitting in a tree and spending time with my daughter, and she loves to hunt too, so it goes hand in hand. It just goes back to how I was raised. We fished and hunted, and I look back, even if, you're not making millions of dollars or anything, or even close to that doing this, but like, I told Austin on the way down here on the drive yesterday, like, if you look back to me being 10 years old and saying this is what I was doing for a living, like, it doesn't get any better. And that keeps it all in perspective on the days where you're like, got a bunch of orders or not getting orders or whatever. So it could always be worse, but it's fun.
What was the big moment in the life of your business where it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna work. This is gonna grow.
Oh man, like it's really grown at a cool pace, to where it was like always just working for a few years, and then like over time, like you know, I call it street credit. Some higher level guys use your stuff, and I got to give a lot of credit to a good buddy back home. His name's Whitney Stevens. He's a stick, an Ohio like kind of legend. He's fished a couple Bassmaster Classics. Super humble dude, and he happens to be really good buddies with Jacob Wheeler. So we had some stuff. Wheeler's plugged us on his YouTube video a few times, and a guy like Scott Martin has done a few things just through, like, he found a little small tackle company, you know, and guys like that, like, you know, plugging you in some of their videos and stuff, that has helped us exponentially. And it's stuff they never had to do, but they just like you for whatever reason. And then that opens up retail opportunities, and the e-commerce has grown exponentially. So you just kind of try to keep all these little avenues going and they all help the business. And so as far as like a big break, we've never really had one, but over the 10 years I've been like legally, you know, doing this, we've always been on an upward trajectory, and never like had this like mass explosion to where I was like freaking out trying to find credit lines and money to keep growing. But I feel like we're also a stronger little company because I've been able to like keep self-funding it and just, you know, putting back into it and all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't even explain how it's happened, but my friends remind me how much it's grown. But I don't, you know, I'm just having fun.
And then did you say this is why I should take notes before we pre-record. You help with an expo center or run a fishing show?
Yeah, me and a good friend of mine, we have a little show in Northeast Ohio called the Great Lakes Fishing Expo. It's not anything compared to this. We've had it 3 years now, and it's like a walleye, steelhead, bass. It's, you know, there's a lot of diverse fisheries up that way, some musky stuff. But, you know, I feel weird sitting at a show promoting our show, but it's all good. We're not out to get anybody. We love fishing and juicing up fishing in our area and helping other, you know, there's a lot of vendors that we have at our show that are direct competition to me, but I can put all that aside, and, you know, not a lot of ego there or anything. Like, there's a big old pie we're all just trying to get a little piece of, and you're not getting anywhere by being that guy anyways, like long term, I don't think. So we try to treat people good and let our products speak for themselves, and no flashy, gimmicky sales pitches. Just
What's harder, running a fishing show or a fishing business for
fishing
bait and tackle?
show. Vendors can be rough on you. Vendors can be rough on you. The business itself is fun, especially if you're like, you know, a bass, you know, if you're not faking it, it's easy. Like, I'm a redneck, been fishing since I was in a diaper, so I'm super comfortable, you know, promoting anything we sell is just stuff I would use. So the tackle business is easy in that manner. The hard part of the tackle business as it's grown is just like being a, you know, the southeastern Ohio guy that probably didn't work as hard as he should have in school. Is like just a little process of like figuring out a barcode system or creating a wholesale program, but thankfully super supportive wife, I call her my tech support team, has helped me like jump up. I'm good on the baits, but, you know, the business side of things, just surround yourself with good people that know, you know, actually know what they're doing, and don't act like you know what you're doing if you don't. So,
What was the hardest thing?
as far as
The whole adventure that you're on?
You
Is
know,
it
man,
making the bait, the business, or just growing it? Or?
I think from the business side of things, the hardest thing is being legal and paying all the taxes that
Not going to prison.
yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
you know, I don't want to like throw anybody out there, but a lot of people just, hustle and try to do a lot of, under the table stuff. But like, I think long term, like if you're thinking branding and growing a business,
go
you gotta
legit.
do it legal, or there's a ceiling where you're always just going to be selling at the flea market because you're worried about the IRS or whatever. So the hardest part has been paying your dues legally and just growing slower because maybe you're not hiding a bunch of, I don't want to say a bunch of money, but just,
Yeah. IRS stuff.
yeah, the hardest part is just paying taxes and the garbage you don't want to have to get on there every quarter and do. Like the business and this kind of stuff's a blast, but the sitting at a computer punching in however many of this you sold, you got to pay excise taxes on your products that you manufacture. Like that's to me the hardest part, just because it's boring and I hate doing it. But
So, vision wise, you have an idea of a bait from brain to paper to selling it. What's your process and your flow?
At this point, it's got to be like a year out at a minimum. As far as you get something prototype, they'll send you back samples, might have to change this, so that eats up 3 to 5 months almost, and then you got to make a bunch of them. But as far as just getting an idea, we have a field staff now of, it's dozens of guys, and you get tons of ideas, and you just got to sort through them. And at the end of the day, I want it to be something that the final decision maker is like something that I like truly believe in. Like we didn't like jump on like the dice cube trend or this or that because I don't know, call me boring, but I'm just like, I want it to be solid and dependable, and getting off track there, but like it's basically get an idea, and if I've got several guys telling me there's a need for this or that, whether it's terminal or a tied product or a plastic, there's a bajillion ideas. You just got to like pick the best one and just run with it, and release a couple new ones a year. And you start getting into a bunch of retailers and stuff. It's like you can't just add a product every time something happens or someone says something.
This is the first question I've ever asked any bait company in the past 5 years. Is there a cap on how many types of baits you can sell? I mean, is it unlimited, or is it like, okay, capacity-wise, we could only sell like 3 or 4 types?
Tactical Fishing Company is a veteran-owned fishing brand that specializes in soft plastics and hollow body frogs that are designed in-house. They collaborate with anglers across the country, giving you some of the best designs out there. If you haven't checked them out yet, you're really missing out. Their number one selling bait is the MRE, Minnow Ready to Eat Hybrid Swim Bait. It flat out catches fish. Whether you're throwing it on your favorite spinnerbait or bladed jig as a trailer, or using it as a standalone finesse presentation, it's one of those baits you can keep tied on all day and stay confident in. And if you're chasing snakehead, Tactical Fishing Company has you covered. They make some of the most rugged, durable frogs out on the market today, from the Dragon Pop to my personal favorite, the Rizzard. When it's time to try and tame your next dragon, they've got the tools you need to make the day on the water memorable. So go support a veteran-owned business, fish with confidence, and make every cast count. Check out Tactical Fishing Company, link in the episode description down below. Alrighty, I gotta tell you about something that's been a game changer for me. Super Blue Stuff Pain Relief Cream. Look, I've had a rough life. 3 reconstructive shoulder surgeries, I had a horse flip on me and break my back, and I'm out on the water a lot. I get aches and pains. My shoulder starts to flare up after casting all day. My back gets tight from sitting in a kayak too long. My knees get achy from standing in the front of the boat. And my neck will start to hurt from looking down at the live scope all day. And now with the temperature dropping for the winter, it can get rough out there, let me tell you. I started using Super Blue stuff way back in high school when I started getting injured playing baseball. And honestly, I don't go anywhere without it anymore. It's in my truck. I have a bottle of the roll-on in my boat. And I also have one in a backpack that I always have with me when I'm going hiking or doing anything outside. The roll-on is super easy to use. Just roll it on whenever you're hurting and you're good to go. No mess, no greasy hands, and it works fast. What I love about Super Blue stuff is that it's all natural. We're talking emu oil, herbs, botanical extracts, no harsh chemicals or junk you can't pronounce, and it actually works. And it doesn't have that insane burning sensation or super cold sensation. You just roll it on and forget about it. Right now, my friends at Emu Therapy are offering Fishing the DMV viewers and listeners 15% off any roll-on when you use the code BLUEFISH at checkout. That's Bluefish, BLUEFISH. Head over to bluestuff.com/fishingthedmv, link in the episode description down below, or call 866-571-BLUE. That's 866-571-BLUE. Trust me, your body will thank you.
Yeah, there's no limit to it, but from an efficiency standpoint and the business side of it, like, I don't think you want to be saturated in, try to have your hands in too much. Like, I'm a believer of, like, pick a lane and be great at something. And I'd say we're kind of known as like a jig spinnerbait company, but we do sell a ton of tubes and terminals. We've got like 5 different types of tube hooks, and we live in a region where we can move a lot of that stuff just locally with the smallmouth, fisheries we have up there. And so there's no limit, but from an efficiency standpoint, I think the best, funnest tackle company to run, and I'm going to throw this name out there, is like take like a War Eagle spinnerbait. People for years, like everybody, had to have a War Eagle, and that company like just blew up on basically a spinnerbait. I mean, they have a couple other products, but like that's way better than having like 400 SKUs of just chasing, and then you got a nightmare of inventory. Like that would have been such a sweet company to run, because they've got a bread and butter bait that they figured out, whatever they did to make it, like everybody wanted it, and just a much less hectic company to run. So I try not to just be adding because of that. I feel like we have solid stuff, so I just keep getting it in front of people, and brick by brick, treat people right, and do your customers right, and it's worked thus far. So I'm gonna run that strategy till the wheels fall off.
Well, and you mentioned it here, Ohio smallmouth fishing. What is that is there a lot of smallmouth fishing? What is that culture like? Just to tee off.
There's a couple different cultures. I'm more in like the armpit of bass fishing in Ohio, like right where I live. But there's probably, I would say, 2 cultures. There's the big water Great Lakes, Lake Erie guys, and then there's a really big culture of like, I would say like River Creek, kayak, like we have the Great Miami River. It's like a renowned, they call it the GMR. It runs like through Dayton, Cincinnati. There's a couple guys I'll tell you to follow on Instagram, but some super impressive smallmouth. And then like there's stretches of the Ohio River where we were talking before this, the smallmouth fishing has just exploded in the last few years. The water's really cleaning up due to the zebra mussels, and like there's stretches of the Ohio River where it's like 10+ foot visibility. So the grass is thriving and the smallmouth are thriving. You're seeing 16, 18 pound bags of smallmouth coming off the river.
That's crazy.
It's also the river where the next week it might take 4 pounds to win, but people are seeing that they actually live there. And fish all over the country too are being more exploited every year with the electronics we have, and people are finding where they might have never thought they lived and catching them. But there is good fishing all over the state in Ohio. It's just on the largemouth side, the size is hard to come by. But probably the northeast corner of the state, you've got the Portage Lakes, Mosquito Lake. To me, those are the best largemouth fisheries. Alum Creek is another one, mid-state. It's got giant smallmouth that are being caught, and it's got the zebra mussels, clean water, grass, and it's got great largemouth fishing as well.
What is portage? Is that slang for something? What does portage lakes mean?
It's a little chain of lakes up in Canton, Ohio.
Okay.
A lot of it's just idle speed only, but there's little canals that meander into like a wing they call Turkey Foot, and then you idle another half hour down through some canals, and you get in another section of the lake. It's a really cool, diverse.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat, and it's a renowned largemouth fishery. I mean, it's one of the best in the state, but it's not a place where you can like go full throttle in a boat. So it's really like kayak friendly and all of that because of that too. So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So when you design the baits, and we got a couple here, and then guys, don't worry, I'm going to try to get them back on. Maybe we'll do a remote episode and we'll talk about all the tubes and smallmouth stuff specifically, because I know you guys on the Susky and the New River would like to see that. But a couple of baits here. What do you think? What will work nationally, or first what works in Ohio first, or how does that work with the jig and the spinnerbait we're talking about?
Yeah, I should have brought a couple more like of our smallmouth.
I get to have you back on the show, so that works.
These are, this is a little finesse flipping jig. It's called the 1099. This is the one Jacob's plugged a couple times for us, and it's just a huge seller for us for many reasons. Like, we called it the Ohio jig for a while. Like, Ohio's a state, like a big bitsy bug type. Like, guys love jigs and those little flood control lakes. But we have a little finesse jig called the triple thread. It's like a hybrid skirted Ned. Now, that's one of our biggest selling smallmouth products. And we have some tiny little tube hooks, this weird niche-y kind of, just our stuff being a river rat, because I live closer to the Ohio River than I live to Lake Erie, so I'm like a river rat at heart. But like, our stuff is more compact geared, just being that, that mindset. I'm a small bait guy. The fish are smaller, and they just seem to get, a little 1/4 ounce buzz bait does a lot better than a big giant blade and this and that. So I don't want to say we're a finesse company, but because we have a little bit of everything, but I try to just have a really good blend of, baits for the tougher smallmouth fishing we have, and then provide that, smallmouth fishermen. Tubes in Ohio have always been a hit. They kind of died off for a decade or two, but they have made a resurgence in the past 2 or 3 years.
It is weird because, again, you guys, I'm very much a local, talking about the different niches in our area versus national, where it's like, okay, we're shaking dice now because nationally that wins. But then you talk to the guy that has a jet boat and it's like, I've been fishing a tube for 250 years.
Right.
It's like, it's weird, like
Right.
in your river system and mine, like that never went away, but it's almost like nationally, it's like, oh yeah, the tube exists. It's like, well, I know it's existed.
Right.
Why do you think that happens?
That's a great question, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. The spinnerbait went away for a while, and then everyone's like thought it was the hot thing again. It's just it's fascinating how that works.
I think a lot of it starts at the top, like what we see on Bassmasters.
Yeah.
This takes a little, one nationally televised, like that starts the majority of it. But I've realized through having this business too, like, there's a lot of guys out there that just love to fish and could care less about watching a tournament. They just love to go crush fish, and that's what they do. And, those are the guys that they want that tube or that Helgramite, something that you're not going to see an Elite Series pro throwing. They and their hands are tied too a lot. Like, they have agendas and sponsors to keep, but there's a lot of other awesome techniques that aren't mainstream, if you would say. And we've just found little niches with some of those, little EWG, like weedless Ned hooks. And, just we sell a lot of those types of products, probably just regionally, because they fit our region well. They may not work well in Florida or on Okeechobee or something, but we just try to build, suit our customer base. And I realized that probably 5-6 years ago, I went to the Knoxville show for the first time, and like it blew my mind, like, because I had all these beautiful spinner baits and jigs. I'm like, I'm going south, and dude, we survived the show, like Ned hooks, like, because nobody was, but I didn't realize how much smallmouth fishing there was in the South. But you got Norris Lake, and all these guys are freaking out over those little skirted Ned jigs, and we go back every year, and our smallmouth stuff just sells great at these shows down here.
That is wild to me, because again, like I talk to different tribes, as I call them, the musky trout, largemouth. Largemouth is very. It's so weird that you'll have the Lake Fork guys, the Florida guys, and they don't necessarily talk as well. Smallmouth is weird because it's like no matter where you are in the country, you get some smallmouth guys together, they talk.
Yeah.
It's so weird the culture that is.
Yeah.
And because I remember going down to Raleigh last year when I did the show there. I didn't even know they had smallmouth in North Carolina until I went down there. Like, oh yeah, like Appalachia. I go to this creek. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, it's great. It gets me excited.
Yeah.
That's what brings me to some of these shows, because like there's, you go to these shows, there's beautiful spinner baits on every corner or this or that. So our little, area that we're in, our little, what's grown our company, it's freaking awesome to come down here and like see guys excited about these tiny little finesse hook or a little finesse jig or whatever, where back then 5-6 years ago, I just wouldn't even have thought that's what would move for us at some of these shows. But we sell a hodgepodge of everything at them, but it, like I said, it just blows my mind the good smallmouth fishing that's all down through here. And it sounds like some guys got to look a little harder to find it, or there's some hidden gems. Can't tell any secrets that I've heard, but like they are, like I've seen pictures here this morning of like 5-pound plus smallmouth that were caught like fairly locally to this place.
Oh yeah, I mean we are really the jet boat central, because if you think about like what I think like river rat fishing, again guys, I know I'll get killed for this from the Ohio guys that are gonna find this in the algorithm, but the New River, Upper James, Shenandoah River, Upper Potomac, Susquehanna, Julietta. I mean, it's just that weird strip right there where it is all smallmouth water. And do you think like the Great Miami River, could that hold a kayak smallmouth tournament? Like, do you think it has that kind of caliber of fish that would be fun?
Well, I'm not 100. I don't want to say this wrong, but like so. And I don't know how it is down here, but we have some kayak guys like on our field staff or whatever that fish the tournaments, but they do it up there like they like do like a circle over a region of the state, so you can fish anywhere inside that region.
Yep.
And a lot of guys go to the GMR to fish like when it hits that region, because there's freaking toads in there, dude. Like, and they're catching them on the big 6-inch glides clear down to our little 2 3/4 inch tubes. It's just,
that's crazy.
Every little, there's a stretch, it's ripple, and then there might be a washout or a hole, or but it's it's a big enough river to hold, I don't want to say a giant kayak tournament, but there's long like stretches that are desolate enough where you can go on an adventure, maybe find an area that's not, because that's what I found with the kayak dudes. It's cool, like they like an adventure. Some of us, you got a bass boat, we can get lazy. We want to go run to the spot, catch our bass, but the kayak side of things is cool because it's an adventure. You can go through tubes and or you can drag it across this 100-yard stretch and go on, see what's on down the river, and they find them. They really do. I don't know if it could support like a giant. Dude, I'm going to have a couple guys like kill me for even mentioning that. But the GMR is like, it's known up there, but I don't know if they're going to want guys coming from out of state.
If anyone wants to come on the show and talk about that, I always like discovering new creeks and rivers.
I got a guy for you. I'll hook you up.
Cool. Yeah, because I think it's fascinating. There's some, again, we did a month ago, we did our tier list ranking of every fishery in North Carolina, which meant I had to spend a weekend finding it. And I was like, Jesus, I didn't know that state had many lakes. And it's so funny because the professional side of things, you would think there's like 10 lakes in the nation.
Right.
But then you go to each state and you realize like, oh my God, there's a lot of places you can kind of explore.
Yes.
So that's always been cool to me about that.
And that goes back to what I said earlier too. You realize like how many guys that are out there that just love to fish. And they're just fishing their asses off just because they love fishing, man. Like it's not, the tournament stuff drives the industry, and I'm a tournament rat. I run around the region fishing tournaments whenever I get time. It's hard with the kids and all that, but like you realize through business and just meeting customers and stuff, like a lot of people just love to fish, man.
Yep.
And that's awesome. It really is. So.
Dude, I want you to pimp out that spinnerbait, and then guys, again, I'll get him back on the show here for sure. This has been fun.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
This is we call this the showstopper. It's nothing fancy. It's one of our original molds we had custom made. It's got a sweet little wire keeper on it, a good copper wire tied skirt. Like all of our jigs have copper wire tie, and just like I said, man, no gimmicks. We just try to make quality stuff and support our customers and be there for you if you need anything. We still do some custom stuff. The lead time on it is a little longer than it used to be, but I don't know. I'm not going to tell you it's the best spinnerbait in the world, but it's a good little spinnerbait, man. So.
Dude, I really appreciate it. If people want to find you, they can't make it out to the show, how can they get a hold of your products?
Yeah, so our e-commerce is bluerocktackle.com. That's, where we do probably the majority of our revenue. Our retail stuff has picked up over the last couple years. We're in about 40 stores from Ohio to Alabama. I try to be picky. They're, in Ohio, Fisherman Central, West Virginia, Ohio River Outdoors, stores that are known like great tackle stores. We're in a store called Mark's Outdoors down in Alabama, and just, several mommy popsy type in between. Locally here, Fishing Pro Tech in Toano, Virginia, Lynn carries our stuff. That's probably the closest to this show that you could, go find Blue Rock if you wanted to check it out. But if not, we're busy on the socials, Facebook, TikTok, the whole deal, Instagram. You can find us pretty easily, I think. So.
Awesome stuff. Guys, as always, link in the episode description down below. This is airing during the Saturday part of the Richmond show. If you're down here, come on down. You can come see him, get some baits. Otherwise, go check him out on the website. And we're going to be right back after commercial break with our next guest. Bye.
Tactical Fishing Company is a veteran-owned fishing brand that specializes in soft plastics and hollow body frogs that are designed in-house. They collaborate with anglers across the country, giving you some of the best designs out there. If you haven't checked them out yet, you're really missing out. Their number one selling bait is the MRE, Minnow Ready to Eat Hybrid Swim Bait. It flat out catches fish. Whether you're throwing it on your favorite spinnerbait or bladed jig as a trailer, or using it as a standalone finesse presentation, it's one of those baits you can keep tied on all day and stay confident in. And if you're chasing snakehead, Tactical Fishing Company has you covered. They make some of the most rugged, durable frogs out on the market today, from the Dragon Pop to my personal favorite, the Rizzard. When it's time to try and tame your next dragon, they've got the tools you need to make the day on the water memorable. So go support a veteran-owned business, fish with confidence, and make every cast count. Check out Tactical Fishing Company, link in the episode description down below. Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8 a month, which is less than a Megabass jerkbait or a jackhammer chatterbait. And I'll sweeten the pot. If you sign up for the whole year, I'll give you 15% off your membership. 15% off. Guys, this is just a way I can say thank you to everyone that helps support and keep this show going. Link in the episode description. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. We are here at the Richmond Fishing Show and Expo. This is a little pre-recorded thing. Audio will be better. Video will be better since I'm just recording on the old camera for some of these shorter little interviews. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Shane Flint of Shane Flint Outdoors. He also runs one of the greatest online tournament programs really around. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Thomas. Seems like every year we kind of get this together.
I know.
Here for Richmond Fishing Show.
We need to meet
It's
up
awesome.
more, especially with, this will be a great tee-off for this, with your new toy that you bought.
Yeah. I mean, you've been fishing with me before, my old boat, but my new boat, man, it is sweet. I am pretty happy with it. I was over there looking at those new Cashin or Icon bass boats, $100,000. My custom-made aluminum boat's got a 11-foot deck on it. You don't find front deck. You don't find that on those boats over there. I can haul 30 rods in my boat if I want to. So it's amazing. So it came out really good. Took us a year to get it done, basically. But Matt Derrick Trick 10s, he crushed it on that new boat. So it's amazing. And it's right now it's set up electric only, but I'm probably going to buy a 90 horse. And I'm going to set it up where I can switch from electric to gas. Yeah, that's something I'm thinking about doing, especially, when I want to get someplace, maybe fish Anna more, maybe get on the river more. It'd be just nice to be flexible. Maybe kind of towards the fall when the water drops. We've been dealing with that here this year, but I'm really happy with that new boat. It turned out really,
How long
really
did it take from like concept, talking to Trey, to taking it home?
So I delivered that boat in October of 2024, and we kind of sat down and penciled it out, and I gave him a lot of creative freedom on what I wanted. Basically, what I needed, though, is I needed double rod lockers. I wanted the biggest deck I could get, live well, and battery compartment up front for the electric only part of it. And he went from there. So from then, it took me, I'll have to say, I broke my leg last year. I'm sure you remember. So I was out for 2 months. So I called and said, slow down on it. And I picked it up in September. First week of September. If we'd have kept on schedule, I probably would have got it mid-July, maybe early July, late June, something like that. But, yeah, it took a while. I mean, and I expected that. It's a custom-made boat. Matt and his team, they do a lot of painstaking details. It's amazing what they go through. I mean, from the paint to the wrap to the custom decking that we put into it.
He's a craftsman. He really, really is.
Yeah, he's the master of his craft, no doubt about it. So if anybody's thinking about getting a boat done, I would definitely highly recommend Trick 10s. He does a great job.
With the whole, again, guys, go check out the last time he was on the show. We really went over more in detail with the leg thing. But when were you able to get back out there on the water?
So I got back out on the water from a broken leg about mid-June, and I broke my leg on the 1st of March, right before the good part of the fishing season, right when the pre-spawn hits. But I got out there for about a good solid 6 weeks, and then I had an unfortunate, my mother passed away, so I had to shift away from fishing for a little bit. But I didn't get as much fishing in 2025 as I wanted to because of the broken leg and family issues, and we all have those things going on. Maybe not the broken leg, but yeah, one of the things that I was struggling with last year is I couldn't get the content for the YouTube channel, but I had the tournaments going on. Obviously, that helps on the content side, but that was good for me because it gave me a little bit of thinking time about how I want to shift my channel content. So this year in 2026, it's going to be a lot of content, but it's going to be more informative. Like I'm going to plug in live scope this year. So when I talk about catches or I show catches, you'll see the live scope footage on it if I have it on those catches. So I'm going to incorporate a lot more into my content this year because anglers are looking for that. Anything that can give them a little bit of the edge, I want to help provide it. Especially some of the folks that are new to live scope. People were resistant, but I'm seeing everyone's not resisting the Borg anymore, and they're starting to put that on their boat. Matter of fact, I had a guy call me yesterday and goes, "How do I get this thing on my boat?" So who hadn't fished it ever. So I want to provide some good content for anglers that can be helpful for them in 2026 and kind of adjust that just me standing out on the boat and catching fish. Now, still plan on catching big bass. I ain't going to change that, but I want to be more informative on the content along with the tournaments for the channel.
If you could just quickly, the background on that, the online tournaments, what you did, and where it is now.
Yeah, so last year, so we started this 4 years ago. So this is our fifth season of tournaments here at Flint Outdoors. So they're absolutely free. And I actually caught wind of trying to do an online tournament from someone that attempted it, and they just didn't refine it. And the challenge was, they were trying to do a weigh tournament online, and that's really, really tough. So we're a length-only tournament. Let me rephrase that. Length-first tournament. So we're measuring fish on a bump board, and you're taking a picture of it, and I give you a unique code to keep the cheating down. But like for a tiebreaker, we use the weight of the largest fish on a digital scale and a photo of it. But you rarely have to go to that tiebreaker. But, we started it off small, and the first year I probably had a couple hundred anglers. Last year, and I proclaimed this mid-year last year, we're the largest online tournament, free online tournament in the United States, period. We had over 3,000 unique anglers in 47 states last year participate in our tournaments. And it has just grown, and we got a great sponsor in Omnia Fishing, and they've grown the prize categories. We do first through fifth now. And if you join up with our Omnia Pro membership, which is not that much, great benefits actually, you can get $550 for first prize. That's not bad for just fish your own lake on your own time during the time period of the tournament. You don't have to worry about start times, getting there early. You do it on your own. And a lot of anglers really love it, especially weekend anglers that can only get out there and fish on the weekend, or don't have limited time to fish. And it has got competitive. A lot of people have jumped into it. So I'm really happy to have it this year. I hope to see 4,000 anglers this year, but we'll see.
That's wild, man. Do you have a team of tacticians and logistic people to do all that, or is it just your lonesome self?
Yeah, it's just myself, and every year I talk about I'm going to add somebody, but I've done it now so long, and I've got some scripts that I've written to help with on the recording side to help me record information through email, but it's still a little taxing, but I've got it down to a science now. And basically, I don't try every week to put an update for the top 500. We do maybe the top 50, then the top 25 as it gets closer to the end of the tournament. So, got a lot of people sign up. Some folks, they try, and, about third way through the tournament, they're like, man, I can't make it. So they start seeing those leaderboards, and they start dropping off. So it's just like any other type of tournament. Yeah.
What app are you using? Is it Omnia's or is it Tourney X or?
So I'm not using an app at all, actually. We're doing email-based. Yeah, so what I do is when I send out the instructions, everybody has a unique code to record their fish, and it changes every tournament. And so I have a script written to write into an Excel document. Once the code is up, it records it into a spreadsheet for me. And I got the formulas in there to add all the links and everything together. So I'm doing it manually, if you will, but I'm not using an app. And primarily, one of the reasons I was going to go to an app, Two reasons that I didn't. One was it costs to use an app, as you're well aware. And two, a lot of the anglers love to get on my Wednesday night lives and find out live what the update is. That's been very popular, is just getting out there and a little bit of barbs going back and forth in the comments between the anglers, and they really enjoy it. So I'm going to keep it that way until I find a more efficient way. I've been trying to work with Omnia to integrate some type of program into the app, but that's not a priority for them because they just merged with Thorne Brothers, and that was a good merger for them because one of the complaints was Omnia doesn't have enough items in stock, and they tripled their stock for all their baits and rods and reels when they merged with Thorne Brothers. So it's been a good merger for them, and in turn they're still continuing to sponsor us because I was getting worried there for a while, but it's all been good.
So when is the next tournament? How many tournaments are you going to go this year? Do they tell you how many tournaments, or are you just mad scientist it?
No, so they I give them a tournament schedule and ask them what they'll support, and usually they'll usually support up to 6, but the last few years we've done 5 tournaments, and our first tournament of the year applies here to Virginia is our Southern Big Bass Tournament, and that's just a one fish, the biggest fish wins, and that is in the southern region of the United States. And if you want to see where that map is, if you're interested, you can go over onto my YouTube channel. I'll be putting out an advertisement probably Monday night, advertising a new schedule for all the tournaments. And that followed with the Northern Big Bass. And then our biggest tournament is our 5 bass draw summer tournament, and that's countrywide. So all 48 states, lower 48, everybody competes in that. And everybody gets worried. I'll get a lot of comments like, I can't compete with the people in Florida and Texas. It's a unique format. So the format keeps it competitive. And by the way, last year, New York State won. So we've never had anyone in Florida or Texas or Louisiana win that tournament. It's been Virginia, New York, Tennessee, North Carolina. Yeah. So the way we had the format of the tournament set up, it keeps it very, very competitive. So, and we had, I think, 1,700 anglers last year in that tournament.
That's really good.
Yeah, we did. But the kicker is it's in 2 phases, and you got to finish one phase of the tournament to get into the second phase of the tournament. And of those 1,700, only about 200, because of that format, it's very strict on the length of the fish that you can turn in. Only about a couple hundred finished that first phase of the tournament. So it weeds itself out real quick.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And then one thing that I will add is last year my team tournament caught on really big, and I'm going to move that up this year to midsummer, right after that the summer tournament. And the team tournament's unique because your teammate can be anywhere in the United States. So if you're in Florida and you got a buddy in Virginia and you want to fish together, I give everybody a unique code, and you have to coordinate those catches. But the team tournament is pretty popular. I went from 75 to now. Last year we had 612 teams, so it grew real quick last year. I mean, it got really popular. So if you got buddies that live somewhere else, or you can't even locally, you don't have to be in the same boat, or you can be in the same boat. But a lot of folks, I had some teams in Virginia. Actually, the guys that won the team tournament were here up in close to my house. One on Lake Mooney, but they never fished at the same time. They just coordinated their catches. One went out in the morning, one in the afternoon. So yeah, it's a great. We're
gonna get to Lake Mooney in a minute. I want to talk. You guys don't know. He's nerdy about all the technology stuff. I've said it on a couple of times on the show, guys, about the big scandal that sadly I had to get involved in with kayak fishing. People are worried about that stuff with catch, photo, release. What is your feeling on the future of just the catch, take a photo, release it when you come to cheating and stuff like that? How is it just human nature? We can't fix it, or do you think technology will get to the point that we'll be able to stop it, or what do you think?
Well, we're humans, right? So as long as there's a way or an opportunity for them to figure out the cheat, they're going to try to cheat. And I'll tell you, in 5 years and 10,000 anglers, I've only had one instance. I couldn't prove it, but I called them out and they just quit the tournament. Yeah, so you have to have the unique code. You have to have it visible in the photo. And I had a guy that was sending in photos where he would put it digitally in there, which I don't allow. So that was the only time I've had someone try to cheat on mine. But even if we get the tech better, there's always ways to try to find ways around it. So I tell people who worry about cheating, just be better than the cheater, right? Because it's going to bubble to the top the guy in the kayak tournament with, I mean, you get caught, right? And he's banned now. But literally, I think the technology will get better, especially on the weight side, I think, because I'd love to see like Bubba scales, for example, integrated in and just catch photo and it records it automatically if you're get away from running around with fish in the live well. I think all anglers would love to have more big bass.
And I think that I really think the dash cam is going to be the solution for those higher Bassmaster. It's already there. You're going to see it on lower levels where you just have to have a camera running so they can double check the fish. Like it seems like the most practical way that you can 100% verify. Because I know I don't know if it's Chad Hoover or Attorney X. They want to go to like a video release of fish as well, but again, with that, where if it's a clip, AI eventually will be able to mimic that. So then, like you said, it's that arms race of technology that you have to deal with.
Yeah. And I fish a lot of local tournaments, especially I fish down in Florida with one of my good friends, and it's an older crowd, and they are absolutely against doing anything other than I want to see those fish on that scale, But at some point, we gotta adjust. We gotta shift that paradigm, I think. And get to a technology that's better for the anglers, because they sit around in the hot Florida heat for hours waiting on the scale to open and get the fish through. If they could get it done in 15 minutes, I mean, that's more time to get home and get meal and collect their money if they get the top three or so. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of not just the technology, but the anglers have got to shift their way of thinking.
Yeah, it's
a
cultural thing that has to change as well, for sure. Fun topic, Lake Mooney, Fredericksburg area. Is it past its prime? Is it in its prime? Where do you think Mooney is in its life cycle right now?
So right now it's you can't fish it unless you got a kayak because the water's way too low. But I did, and like I said, I had limited time last year. I'll just tell you this, and I'll share this. It's actually on. It didn't matter. It's on video. It's on my YouTube channel. So one night, one afternoon, within 20 minutes, I had a 5, a 7, an 8, and 2 6s in a 20-minute period. Is it past its prime? I don't think so. Is it in its prime? I'd say yes. What's making it such a great lake is the forage. It has so much forage in that lake. I think it's got a few more years. The angling pressure is there. It's starting to see the angling pressure. I'd go there. 3 years ago, it'd be 2 or 3 boats and a kayak or 2. Now there's a dozen to 15 boats, especially even up to 30 on the weekend. Yeah, I don't fish it on the weekend. I live just a few miles from the lake, so I just stay away from it. But it's probably got the notoriety of a Hunting Run 5 years ago when Hunting Run was really on fire, which I still think Hunting Run's a great lake itself. But I think it's got a few more years. I do think, and I said this last year, there'll be a double-digit bass out of there. I think this year. I thought it would be last year. I'm not going to say it was going to be me, but I was on some big ones last year until I had the broken leg. But I do think we'll see some double-digit bass coming out there in the next year.
My hypothesis has always been because you have so many lakes close together, it's impossible for each one to get equal pressure. And I think because the cycle Mooney's in plus social media, I personally feel like it's pushed a lot of pressure away from like a Hunting Run and a Nye comparatively. And hopefully that gives them a chance to breathe and rebound a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'll tell you, Nye, and you had some great success on Nye last year. That's a sleeping giant. And a lot of people don't like to fish it. I mean, the boat ramp is that's the key. I mean, that's the toughest part is getting your boat in there. But it does have a somewhat boat ramp. But it's a great fishery. And Hunting Run is still a great fishery. A lot of people said it died last year. I only got to fish. I fished it the day before I broke my leg. And that was opening day. And I didn't do as good as I usually do on open day. I think, I've caught a dirty 30 out of there. But, still, I caught 2 4-pounders, in a few hours on the lake because it was just too cold and windy that day. But it's probably going through that cycle last year. All the lakes cycle through. But I think in a few years that'll be, maybe even this year, it'll be back to, I mean, you've seen filters of 12s. And
I'm just fascinated, like, why is it not, is it a forage thing? Is it a cover thing? Is it a little bit of both? You think it's both?
I think it's both. Yeah, because they managed that as a trophy lake for years and years, and then they took the trophy status off of it 3 years ago. And I don't know if that was a huge impact, but what I did notice, especially the year prior, I used to see giant bait balls in that lake. And it got smaller and smaller and smaller. I don't know if they had a die-off or if that's going through a cycle, but I did not see the bait. And I didn't see the quality of fish. When you don't see the bait, the bass don't grow as big. And I think that had an effect on it. A couple of folks have told me, oh, they got snakeheads in there now. And I'm like, I don't believe that. And I have caught snakeheads in there, but not just a few. But I just don't feel like that's part of the reason that it waned off a little bit. I think just going through a natural cycle. Hopefully the bait will grow back in there.
For sure. What type of bait is in there specifically? Is it the herring or alewife type of thing that Mooney's got, or is it just threadfin and gizzards? Or
so they put golden shiner in. Yeah, they had golden shiner in Hunting Run, if I remember correctly, and you can read it on the DNR website. And I'm not sure if that they just finally couldn't keep up or couldn't reproduce. You know, I think the best bait that I've seen in this region, you know, north of Richmond, is the LY. You know, that's what's loaded in Mooney. I mean, I don't know when the last time you fished there, but I have seen, took my live scope and probably 75 yards wide, 30 yards deep of just, you know, 3 and 5 inch LY.
Wow.
It's amazing. So much LY in there. And those supposedly were naturally came from the creeks and creek inlets into that lake, and that's it populated. So if that naturally occurs, maybe that's something they should probably think about if Hunting Run doesn't bounce back, getting LY in there.
The grass on Mooney, I've heard rumors of everything that it's coming back, it's better. The grass carp killed all of it. There's nothing left. Like what is the truth with that?
So the grass is the grass, and the grass carp cut it down some. It is not as high as it has been when I first started fishing there, but there's a ton of grass. I mean, a ton of grass still. You don't see it really become a factor until early June. And there's a period, if you don't know Lake Mooney and know the areas where the fish like to congregate, it's a pretty big lake for an electric lake. Before that grass comes in, it's tough to fish. But once the grass comes back in, it gets a little easier to fish. But I'll just say this, and I tell fishermen all the time, because I go out there and it's like I didn't catch anything, and I've got 15 4-pounders in the boat. Maybe I'm exaggerating on the 4-pounder, but I've caught 15 or 20 bass. But if you go out there and think you're going to burn the bank on that lake, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, and this is the thing, is like I think this is where people get upset about this in the comment section when we did the ranking of lakes, but Lake Frederick and Mooney are classic examples where I think Scope did help shine a light on how good these places are, because it's the way it fishes with these pelagic species. It is hard if you're sitting out there in a John boat with nothing and you're just firing into the ether.
That's right. Yeah, it does. You know, technology helps. No doubt about it. But I will tell you, if you do learn the lake and understand where everything is, you can be successful without having live scope and things of that nature. I see there's a few guys out that are pretty successful. With just standard fishing. But again, they learn the contours of the lake and where all the cover.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like with Nye guys, great example. I think it's one of the best cover places on the planet right now when it comes to just the ecosystem. Absolutely. Not the biggest ones, but you can go there and beat the bank. And I think that's interesting when it comes to, if you're the DWR, you want the forage of Mooney, but you want the habitat diversity of kind of Nye. And if you marry them together, I think that would give you your perfect kind of situation. And not the boat ramp of Nye, because I kid you not, when I get the nonprofit going, hopefully next year, I would love to do something to fix some of the stumps at least. It's gnarly, but dude,
every lake there's another lake that has a horrible boat ramp, and I think it's a sleeping giant. I tell you every year, Able Lake. It's so old. It's 67, 68 years old. Don't quote me on the number, but you can't get a boat in there now because it's all filled up with silt. But that is a great lake. If they get a boat ramp in there, it'd probably get fish more. Again, really hard lake to fish because it got really steep bluffs. But man, I've done really good.
So if you guys don't know, there's a couple of military lakes that did come online the past couple of years. People had expectations for the place, and it never became the big bass fishery, because even though it had all this time off. How is it you'll have the lakes that get beat hard like Mooney, great big ones, but then a lake that's pristine, never touched, lots of quantity, but it doesn't have that big bass factory?
Yeah, so you're talking about Lunga. Lunga, I mean, we've caught a few big bass. Don't get me wrong. There's been some 6, 7, 8 pounders. I've never seen anything over 8. Some 6 and 7s come out of there. Biggest I caught 6.5. I'll tell you, there's 2 reasons, in my opinion. When you let a lake set for 10 years, it stunts the growth. You need to take some of the fish out. And the other thing is, there's a lot of predators in there. You're going to catch 2 pickerel, and I mean, if you want a citation pickerel, go to Lunga. And it's frustrating. I get out there and I'll catch some nice bass. There's plenty in there, but you're in that 1.5 to 3 pound range. But you're going to catch 2 or 3 pickerel to every bass. But I'll let this secret out, and some people are going to be angry with me for doing it. But a couple people have figured it out. Smith Lake. I went to Smith Lake 3 times last year, and all 3 times I caught at least 3 bass over 5 pounds. And that's just down the road on Quantico. Again, tough to get into right now. All the lakes are tough to get into because of the water issue, but it's just got a small boat ramp. But it's a good fishery because people would fish that, but when they opened Lunga, they went over to Lunga thinking, the giants were waiting to get caught. But there's 2 good fisheries out there on the marine base, on Quantico Marine Base.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. And you can get in there. You don't have a criminal record, so you can get
I thought you had to be
driver's
ex-military
license.
to get in there. Okay, gotcha.
No. Yeah. You have to check in at the MWR and get a little. Now you have to pay. It's $80 to get in on the base. You have to get a sticker, but it's free for the retired military folks. But for anyone else, you have to pay to get a tag to get in there.
Dude, guys, again, come on down here. This will be, when you see this, it'll probably be later this afternoon or tomorrow morning. That way I can put links in the episode description because we're going to pimp them out real quick. If people want to follow you, join your tournament, where do they have to go?
So if you follow me at Flint Outdoors on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram, if you want to get a hold of me for the tournaments, lots of information on all of those venues, but just email me at shaneflintoutdoors@yahoo.com. And like I said, about Monday afternoon coming up, I'll be doing all the advertisement out for our new tournament schedule coming out.
Sweet.
In 2025.
Guys, I'll put a link in the episode description. Please go check him out. You got any questions about the Fredericksburg area, reach out to him, reach out to me, and I'll send you back to him. And guys, we're going to keep things keeping on here, and we'll see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye.